We are together with Ms. Antonietta Varlese, Sustainability Communications and International Relations of Accor, Accor Americas. And we are together in Antalya in Turkey, attending the Global Sustainable Tourism Conference. Good evening, first of all.
Good evening.
We attended a session earlier that you were presenting. And before we go to what you discussed there, I would like to tell me a little bit about the sustainability goals of Accor. What are your strategy around this issue?
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you for inviting me, Theodore. Sustainability is basically at the heart of Accor. So everything that we do are now connected with sustainability. So we are a company that have more than 5,400 hotels around the world. We are present in more than 110 countries, and we have around 300,000 employees. So we are a diverse company in itself. And our main objective is to provide fantastic experiences from the guests and from people that choose us to spend your days either working or living or enjoying our restaurants or our co-working. So we are not just a hotel company. We want to be the augmented hospitality choice for every traveler. Okay, so this sustainability for us encompasses a lot of things. Now we're talking about environment, and we're talking, of course, about people and the importance of having the governance of those three things together, as the famous ESG, okay?
Yep.
And for Accor, for example, we set up some targets. By 2050, we expect to be net zero in our operations.
What it means,
net zero means that our operations should not promote carbon anymore by 2015. So to achieve that goals, we have to put in place a lot of new behaviors, a lot of new tools for then the hotels and even our headquarters to implement a lot of new ways of doing our business in order to be less harm to the environment. Okay?
Can you give me some examples of the initiatives you have?
Yes, for example, we just implemented a lot of systems to, for example, remove the plastic single-use plastic in our hotels. Okay, so we made a lot of efforts in terms of finding substitute products in order to have less plastic as possible. Okay, this is an ongoing project, of course, but we managed to remove in 2022 practically 84% of our hotels removed plastic-free. More than 48 items of plastic were removed. So for this year, for example, our target is to go on the back of the houses, because first we removed things in plastic that are in front of the clients, but now we have to do a lot of more work in eliminating plastic on the back of their houses, in our kitchens. So I can say that sustainability is a journey for ourselves. So it's a journey, and obviously we have to also find other projects in the markets and also working with suppliers. So another important point for us is to work together with suppliers that are in the same path with us. For example, we kind of audit our suppliers to check if they are working, for example, with human rights, if they are not involved in any employment of slaves and other kind of things. And we want the suppliers to have the same sustainability standards as us, to be our providers in terms of sustainability and sustainable products as well. So we are in this journey together to find either suppliers, and also to make our owners to understand the benefits of being sustainable as well, and implement, for example, tools to measure the water and energy consumption, gas consumptions, light bulbs with LED. So we are also engaging the owners to make them understand that an investment now is a lot of savings for the future, because of course some of those projects need investment at the beginning, to switch for sustainable products. So now my main job is to make them understand and to engage them in this new way of thinking, because it's a transformation. Sustainability is a transformation of the society in itself.
Of course, but how you measure the impact and how you measure the return on this investment?
Yes, exactly. We have, at the moment we did baselines. We did, for example, we are in the process to measure our waste of food, for example. So we have systems and methodologies to measure, to every hotel, to measure the waste of food, and then we can implement ways to save that. So if at the beginning we have to measure, before without measuring we can transform our business. So we are at the moment implementing a lot of tools, systems, new practice, and then make them understand that they have to fulfill these tools in order for us to measure everything, and then combining with a process to reduce and revise the waste or the energy, or working more proactive to save energy or water.
Did you face any challenges during this process?
Yes, well, the challenge is to make people to feel the information, because of course
some extra job for them.
There's a lot of things to do, of course, and we have to retrain people because, as you probably know, before the pandemic, you had a lot of problems with the hotels. A lot of hotels changed, and historically, the tourism industry has a lot of turnovers, and the trainings are really important for us in sustainability. So the tools are systems, so people need to be training in order to include and fulfill with the right information. So it's a job itself, and some hotels do not have enough resources in terms of people. We are facing a lot of challenges in terms of recruiting people in the new way of working, and those challenges of hiring people are also impacting in the way we designate people to fulfill these tools and information and retraining. So we are really working really hard with all the operations of our hotels and the managers of our hotels in order to train them again, to provide those informations that will be able for us to create the big baseline, and therefore offer them solutions also to reduce the consumption.
Excellent. And speaking about people, earlier you presented about inclusive tourism. So what was this about?
Okay, so inclusive tourism for us is basically our strategy towards diversity, equity, and inclusion. Our strategy is based in 4 pillars. One pillar is the gender equality. So we have a lot of projects to empower women and also to work against violence with women that increased a lot during the pandemic. So we are working a lot with that, especially within communities and local communities. So it's not only about empower our employees, our female employees, but also to help the communities towards this. And actually, we are also removing the payment differences. So we work towards pay equality, men and women as well. So diminish that gaps between payment differentiations. And we work with diverse organizations in order to help women. Another pillar of our strategy is the disabled people, so we are working with disabled people and offer them opportunities either to work in our hotels or also to train our hotels to receive those people and have the right premises, the right rooms, the smart rooms. For example, we design a new concept called smart room for a person with disability, not feeling like a hospital, just to have a very well designed room that can be either occupied by disabled people or for other people with no disability anyway. So, and also we set up a target for every country to have at least 2% of disabled people with disability working in our hotels. So that's another target for us. The third pillar is basically work with the racial, the multi-racial and ethnicities. For example, for Americas, we have like minorities such as Black people or indigenous people. So we also, and refugees as well are becoming quite frequent in Americas. So we are working with those communities. We try to make them, we try to help them to have education. We are also hiring those people for working in our hotels as well. So that will be the third pillar. And the fourth pillar is to work with the LGBT community, to support their community and to make them feel welcome and respected in our hotels, either as a guest or either as an employee, So that's everything about no discrimination and respect, most of that. And we work very close to IGLTA organization, that set up a lot of guidelines for us and also help us to promote those hotels, and communicate for the tourists that those hotels are safe and those communities are really welcome in our hotels. I'm part of the board of IGLTA as well. And Accor had this partnership for the last 2 years.
And how do you work together with GSTC?
Well, GSTC, Accor is member of GSTC, and we basically apply a lot of criteria of the GSTC, just to guarantee that we are providing for the guests and for our employees the high standards, the high international standards towards sustainability. So we've been working with GSTC for the plastic, for water consumption. I just been in discussion with MICE new criteria that will be implemented next year. So we, as a leader in tourism, in the majority of countries where we are, we must work with standards and to guarantee from our external body that all the actions that we are doing are compliant with what we believe are the best practices in the world and trends and everything. It's very important for us to be certified as well. That's why our hotels are in place to get certified by, again, institutions, members of GSTC as well, in order to make sure that we are operating according to standards and offering the best in class in terms of sustainability for either our guests or either our employees and also our investors.
Great. And what will be your next steps now in the near future?
Well, we have set up even more targets for this year. For example, for 2023, our target is to have like the majority of our hotels, like 8% of our hotels, removing new items of plastic. We want to also reduce the carbon emission. We have some targets from either 2030 and 2050. So we want to, diminish our carbon emission this year as well. We want to have at least 40% of women in management positions in our hotels around the world. And we want to have our baseline for food and beverage in order to work better with waste. Okay,
Right.
so we also have other strategy towards the animal welfare as well. By 2025, our hotels should not have any more free cages, eggs in the. We have to transform our consumption to free eggs cage. Okay, and therefore we are supporting like plant-based food as well in our hotels to collaborate with the new ways of seeing the relation between food and animal, and how the carbon from the animals areas of contributes to the environment. This is very, very big compared to if you have plant-based agriculture. Okay, so that's why we are also working in that area.
One last question I want to make with you. How do your guests respond to all this? Do they realize all this effort that you are doing? Are they looking for this type of services and processes?
Yes, we running a lot of research regarding our guests. So we have different guests. For example, if we talk about companies that are doing events in our hotels and want their employees to be with us during those events, so the targets for environment and ESG are really high. So I think they are actually critical for them to choose our hotels or the competitors. Okay, so the ESG, my team, for example, is participating more and more on sales speeches with my EC and sales department, just explaining the strategy. So the strategy more than price, no, because before it was just a matter of pricing from one hotel to another, and now the key definition item is how you are targeting your ESG, what are you doing in terms of people. So it's becoming really important for that kind of client. So for the young generations also, they are really keen on knowing what we are doing in order to protect the environment. So they are more keen on understand where the food are coming from. So we are perceiving that shift, especially in the young generation. So, and our main task now is how to communicate everything that we do for the guests, because a lot of things that we have been talking about are not visually perceived by the guests. No, a lot of things in terms of energy, water, that are not really in front of the client. So now we have to communicate to the client everything that we do in order for them to understand that hotel is sustainable and everything that we do, and that we are helping the community. So we have to work. I think we have to work more. I think this is our challenge, is to work more in terms of communicating to the guests, to the consumer. I mean that B2C consumers, what we are doing and our efforts to do that as well.
Excellent. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.